Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast, as part of the LabZtorm and Squal. This audio podcast as part of the Sepulchre and Storm and Bostics. This audio podcast as part of the Ship Mode Squad. This audio podcast as part of a Storm and Bostics production. Through this audio podcast, a look at some of the a look at sort of central mechanisms, or central mechanistics in around as part of this audio podcast series or chapter. So the biochemistry of the flight and fight, and a general adaptation syndrome. The general adaptation syndrome was conceptualized in the around the mid 1930s by Dr. Hans Selye, um, and is now better generally between both sort of theories. They're now better sort of understood in across literature, although much remains to be discovered about how systems interact with others within the central nervous system and general pathophysiology. The body reacts to stress. The body reacts to stress first by releasing, for example, catecholamines, endocrines such as epinephrine and adrenaline, and norepinephrine, and noradrenaline, and the glucocorticoid endocrines, such as cortisol or cortisone. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, is a major part of the neuroendocrine system, including the interactions of our hypothalamus, the pituitary and adrenal glands. The HPA, the hypothalamic pituitary axis, or HPA, is believed to play an important role in the body's reactions to stress by balancing endocrine release from adrenaline, producing adrenal medulla, from the adrenaline producing adrenal medulla, and from the corticosteroid producing adrenal cortex. The homeostasis required for successful coping is maintained by countering and re-establishing forces that consist of a complex repertoire of molecular, cellular, physiological, and psychological responses. These coping responses, or these coping responses, sort of provide a selective advantage for survival, and a substantial portion of cellular mechanistics or mechanisms which are dedicated to the goal of a sustaining homeostasis. Additionally, to inform the understanding of the interactions between the HPA and inflammatory reactions mediated by the immune system have expanded with several investigations demonstrating that psychological stress can downregulate various parts of the cellular immune response. Communication between the central nervous system and the immune system occurs through chemical messengers secreted by nerve cells, endocrine organs, or immune cells, and psychological stresses which can disrupt these networks. Evidence for interactions between the central nervous system, or CNS, and the endocrine and immune system derived from laboratory investigations, from lab investigations, have also informed that neuropeptides, and adrenal endocrines such as corticosteroids and epinephrine affect the immune function both in vivo and in vitro, in vivo and in vitro, and where receptors for these molecules are present on lymphocytes, or T cells, and macrophages. Interactions between immune function therefore underline or determine how a young person copes with chronic illness, chronic illness or chronic illnesses. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of the LabZtorm Squal. This audio podcast as part of Sepulchre and Storm and Bostix. This audio podcast as part of the Shitmode Squad, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production.